Welcome to Kids Express.
Join us as we see kids express their love for Jesus
while developing their character.
on Kids Express!
Welcome to 3ABN Kids Express, where we meet kids from around the world and learn what they are doing to spread the love of Jesus. It is through their experiences we can learn fun and new ways to take our hobbies and talents and use them for the glory of God. Today, we're going to meet a young person who had seen some hard times and yet was able to shine for Jesus in the midst of turmoil. I'm Aunt Francine.
And I'm Khalil. So, can you guess where in the world today's guest comes from? Or can you also identify what state this is? If you said Illinois, you would be correct. Let's welcome Isabella.
Welcome, Isabella.
Hi.
Ooh.
Those look amazing.
What is that, brownies?
Did you make them?
Yes, I did. Just kidding. No, I didn't.
I think she had a little help.
Those look good.
But I like making brownies. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
Do you like making
Yes.
brownies?
I love
Yeah.
making brownies.
Especially the batter. The batter's really good.
I can't say I've tried the batter.
When I make the box says do not
Not
eat
eat.
raw brownie batter. So I'm like,
Because of the raw eggs, right?
yeah, I guess.
Maybe you have your own eggs and then it's
Yeah.
not so bad.
Yeah.
That helps. So tell us a little bit about Illinois.
Well, I'm from Southern Illinois, so it's not so much Chicago, what most people think about. But we have a bunch of cornfields and it's a bunch of farms. It's pretty much about 80% farmland and crops. And our part is a really small town, and we like to just hang out and walk around town. That's what we like to do.
That's cool.
That's kind of fun. Yeah, I mean, and so anything else that you like to do in Southern Illinois? What do you like to do? You hang out with your friends?
Hang out with my friends. I'm a cheerleader. I was the captain of the cheer squad. And I love to sing and play piano at church. That's what I love to do.
G-E-S-U-S, go Jesus, go.
Yeah, I like that. You're right. We often think of Illinois being the land of Lincoln, even though he wasn't even born here.
He was born in my state.
Yeah, which is what, Indiana?
Yeah, Indiana.
Yeah, he was. And I believe that the first McDonald's was here in the state of Illinois.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So, that's kind of interesting. But you know what? So you have a special story, and
I do.
I really appreciate you being here. And I'd like you to share a little bit about, we might need to get started with a video pretty early on, and you might have to tell us. But the first video is somewhere where we don't, any of us like to be. Do you like being in the hospital?
No.
No.
It's not fun at all.
So tell us a little bit about something that was extra challenging for you, or some hurdle that you had to go through.
It was really hard to just stay positive and know that everything was going to be okay when I was in the hospital. But you just have to trust God and know that He'll pull you through whatever you're going through.
Do you mind sharing a little bit about what happened?
I will. So it all started, we were on a mission trip actually in Maine. And we were all out in a lake. It was a fun day, and I hit my head on a rock. And apparently before this, I already had an infection by my brainstem. So when I hit my head, I guess it collided with the infection already back in my brainstem with my spinal fluid, and that had caused meningitis.
Ooh.
And then when that infection in my brainstem, when it got infected into the bone, that caused some osteomyelitis. And also hitting my head made me have a concussion. So I had a really bad headache, and we had to drive all the way home from Maine, and that was about a 2-day trip. And then it took 3 emergency rooms to actually get admitted into the hospital before we could figure out.
Wow.
And
What was wrong? What was wrong? So your parents are just nervous. You're worried.
It was really scary. We got home really late from Maine on I think it was a Sunday night or a Saturday night, and it was just really bad. I was crying. It was not a good deal. So we said, okay, tomorrow morning we're going to go to St. Louis, and we're going to go. And they couldn't get me with an IV. They blew my vein a couple times. So they just gave me a shot and said, it's just a concussion, just ice it and take medicine. So we went home, And then the next day, it was even worse. So we went to a closer hospital, about 45 minutes away, and they gave me some shots, which helped my headache for about 2 hours, and then it was just back again, worse. So we went back to St. Louis, and then they finally admitted me into the hospital, and we were in there for about 9 days.
Wow.
It's a really big process.
Yes, and in spite of that, you were able to do something amazing. Can we show that video?
Yes, we can.
Now, this is a rough video, so just understand it was just done, but I appreciate Isabella willing to share this. Let's look at that video now, and then we can talk about it.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. So that's in the hospital.
That was in the hospital. So a music therapist, actually, this is a really big hospital, and a music therapist came in and asked if I wanted anything to do with music, and I said, I want a piano. I want it in my room. I want it. And so I got it, and I was playing like always. I had my phone pulled up with the chords I needed to play, and my doctors came in, and I had I think it was 4 teams of doctors on me at this point. And one of the head doctors was a Muslim doctor. And so he didn't believe exactly what I believed. But when I was doing that, I think it started to change his life. And it was a really good experience. And I got to share it with pretty much all the teams of doctors that was on me. And then all the people that were in there just observing everything to be a doctor, they were in there as well. So there was a bunch of people. They were lined up in the hall and everything.
So your mom told me, and I don't know, but did that Muslim doctor say anything specifically that made you think that maybe you were influencing him?
Well, he said, I've been praying, but not to the God you believe, but I've been praying. And there was a couple other things I don't exactly believe, but him and my dad actually started talking about religious things. And so my dad just said what he was, and he was pretty impressed. So I think it was just...
So you planted that seed
Yeah.
in the midst of that turmoil. Do you have a question for her?
I do not. I am
Okay.
in awe.
And that, for me, when you're in that turmoil and there's so much hardship, there's something that God is working on our character and developing in how we trust God. And that's kind of a hard thing to do because I don't know about you, but you, again, and that was nice that they gave you that keyboard, but what is it that you felt like you were learning in the process of that?
I was learning to trust God and trust what he had ahead of me and what was planned for me, just because it could help others or help me what I needed to see and what needed to happen in my life. So.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. It is even through these hard times, and that really shows our character when we go through these really difficult times. We can be better, or we can be bitter. Have you heard that phrase before?
Yeah. Yes.
And you chose to be better and rise above it. And some of the things that you were able to influence other people. How do you teach someone, and how do you help other people know who God is? Because even in the midst of that turmoil, when they see what you're doing and how your character is developing, and how nice you are with them, what is it that you do? How do you encourage them?
I think actions help a lot, not just your words. So if you're kind and you're nice and you really show what Jesus is like, then I think that helps a lot.
You're right.
God-like, Jesus-like, but speaking the word is so really good.
So this really kind of shaped your perspective, because all of us have a point of where we look to something, like you have a future, like you know what you're going to do, and then all of a sudden you get a wrench in it, like you just did. Yeah. And you had to reshape your perspective, right? And kind of see what it is that you were doing.
This reminds me of Job.
Oh, Job.
Yeah, Job. Yeah, Job had struggled through a lot. He had his cattle taken away, his whole family, all of his sons and daughters were taken away. He had his wife. He lost everything.
You're right. And I think we'll have a question that you might want to share with us a little bit about that too. But you know, when we develop about how we share with others and surrounding yourself with other people that can encourage you, who were your encouraging people that were around you?
Definitely my parents. My parents were very helpful, like they would fall asleep in bed with me because I couldn't sleep. Like it was just, and then I had a friend back home that we would FaceTime a lot on my phone, and my brothers.
Yeah.
I've got
so like
4.
Job, he didn't have good friends. And even his wife said, why don't you, just turn around and just, so it's important that we have the right people that are surrounding us. And sometimes we need to say, okay, Lord, what is it that you want to have me do? What do you think that God's having you do, even after that?
Definitely share my testimony, like share what God can do and just trust Him. And definitely worship is something that
I think we have some pictures of you. There's a couple pictures. There's one that you were doing. You said something about cheerleading. Is there a picture that we can show of that? And what was happening there? What were you doing?
So we were actually, after each basketball game, we would get with the other cheerleading team and stand in the middle of our circle, and we would pray. And normally I would be the one to pray because no one else would do it. So I had to step up, and that was a big step for me, actually. So
to speak up.
Yeah.
Did you initiate it, or did some?
Actually, we were at a tournament. It was like for the first basketball tournament of the season, and another cheerleading team did that. And I was like, hey, we should do that. So we started doing that, and that was something that really impressed some of our fans and people that were there for our team, and even some on the other team.
You're right. You're right. So that reminds me, God can always fill us with hope. And let's look at Romans 15, verse 13. And then we're going to go back to Job, I think, because that is a powerful story, because Job did have some. But in this verse, let's read that. Can you read that?
Romans 15:13, right? Mm-hmm. It says, now may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, that you may abound in hope by the power of the Holy Spirit.
So through it all, you had hope.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't
had to. Yeah.
You had to have hope because you knew God was doing something special. Do you have a question for us? We'd like to hear questions from you at home, so you can email us at kids@3abn.org. Again, that's kids@3abn.org. What's our question, Khalil?
This question is for you.
Okay.
It comes from Jordan, who lives in New Jersey, and he asks, I would like to know why God let Satan do bad stuff to Job.
And that's exactly what we were talking about. We all thought of Job in that story. And so, do you remember the story? Why do you think Job had to go through those tests?
I think to show that God is strong, that God can pull you through whatever you go
And
through.
to put that trust in Him, absolutely. And you see, God was allowing these terrible things because Satan was saying, oh, just let me have that handle on Job, and he will surely not turn toward you. But God had to prove in His loving way that even in the midst of turmoil, He can turn it around. And that's really hard to do, isn't it?
Yes, very.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that we have stories like that in the Bible, stories like you, and I appreciate you taking the time to share that with us, because that's a testimony. So don't give up in sharing in that, and we want to hear more about your talents, and keep singing for Jesus. So always remember that Jesus is looking toward you to do great things. So will you live for Him? Until we see you on the next Kids Express.